Shows family, is Namsa here at Ngozi Talk Shows. Find your own voice, lead from within. With me today, I have Claudia Pasa and Carol Ann Cooper. How are you, ladies?
Very well, thank you.
Yeah, good, thanks.
Awesome, awesome. So our topic today is overcome resistance instantly, unlock the secret now. So are you somebody who is tired of feeling stuck and held back by resistance in your life? If this is you, today we're going to reveal the ultimate secret to overcoming resistance instantly and unlocking your full potential. And Carol Ann, you chose this topic. And could you please explain to our audience what was in your mind when you chose this topic? And what do you think the audience will benefit out of this topic?
I did. I don't remember choosing it. Was it you, Claudia?
It's
Was it
fine.
Claudia?
Yeah, I'm sure it was Claudia. It wasn't me.
Go ahead, Claudia.
Claudia,
Okay.
please explain.
Absolutely.
Where did it come from?
Well, it's actually something we all have, like, yeah,
Mhm.
and it will always come up as well and be inside. And it's just, I wanted actually as well, just like to have a little chat about it and to see what you guys think and how we can inform as well the audience outside in regards to resistance. I mean, how I work with resistance is as well. Obviously, when something is coming up, I feel resistant in regards to doing something. I just know there is something like a block, maybe limitation, a limiting belief. So I already know when something is there that something I have to look at, something of which wants to be healed as well. So, and instead of resisting the resistance, which I did in the past, whereby when we do this, we just put another layer on resistance on the resistance. So it's just not working anymore. I realized, I changed my approach. And now what I do is I'm getting curious. Why is the resistance here? What's the message in it as well? Because if we just like pause a bit, take some time out, sit down with it or meditate or just like have a cup of tea, whatever it is, and like go into the resistance and just like ask it as well. Why are you here? What's your message? What do you want to tell me? And just get curious about it rather than pushing it away. Yeah. So.
Absolutely. That's what I I think as well, because I love what Louise Hay says. She says resistance is the first step to change. And something is about to change. And the thing is, resistance is actually a psychological reaction to change. And as we know, change is the only constant. We know that is the only thing we can actually be certain is going to happen. Change always happens, but we resist it because we get into a comfortable place and we don't like change. It's like, no, I'm comfortable, don't change. And then up comes the resistance. And because whatever you're going to do, even if you set yourself a task, once you've completed that task, something's changed. There's a completion. There'll be a consequence of you completing that task. There'll be a consequence of you taking an action that you've been resisting putting off doing. And things change. And that's what we're resisting. So certainly, I certainly acknowledge by resisting the resistance, we're perpetuating it. We're making more of it. And so I read, there's a beautiful quote I found this morning that really says this beautifully. Whatever you resist, you become. If you resist anger, you are always angry. If you resist sadness, you are always sad. If you resist suffering, you are always suffering. If you resist confusion, you are always confused. We think that we resist certain states because they are there. But actually they are there because we resist them. And okay. And I think that, 'cause I'm always confused. This thing that I go into confusion quite easily, you know. And I think it is something I do resist, I make wrong. So this whole conversation is, I'm just going to allow that to percolate through and allow myself to stop resisting confusion and embrace it more, because certainly embracing it and working with it is the key to actually it just dissipating. Yeah. So what about you, Nomsa? What were your thoughts about resistance?
Resistance. I love the topic, because we actually resist to do things that we want to do, because sometimes it could be confidence, problem with confidence, like what I'm doing, or sometimes it could be not having the actually courage to actually do what we are supposed to do. Like yesterday was the day before yesterday, I've decided I want to move a house again. So I'm registering on the website, and when I saw the email, I just laughed today, just because I have registered and it has my African name. So somebody seems to think that I cannot afford to actually get this house that I want, or I'm not good enough because I have an African name. I was like, are you having a laugh? I actually called them. I was like, I've registered and I put what kind of a house that I'm looking for. And you actually refused my application for me to go ahead with my registration. Can you tell me why? And she's explaining, this woman, I was like, you're just discriminating me. Without asking me questions of who I am, just by looking at the same name and the name, you just made a conclusion. And all those things can actually put people off somebody doing things that they want to do. But for me, it doesn't put me off. I just laugh at some other things. I said to the woman, could you please, what you're saying to me on the phone, could you please put it in writing, because that's humiliating. Can you please put it in writing? If you can't put it in writing, can you actually let my application and let me find a home, please? And she was like, she just left me and just came back, and she was like, okay. And then she just cut the phone, because we live in this world where people are very judgmental. And sometimes it can cause people to struggle with their confidence. It can mostly when somebody is being racist towards you, sometimes it can be tough, because when people are judging, it's like, oh, she has the African name, African surname, that means she won't be able to afford this house. So we have to have certain things. So it's like, okay, this woman, she's actually, honestly, I laughed and I was like, you are actually judging me. Honestly, I came across with it so many times where clients, they are like, may I please speak to the company, the owner of the company with my company? I'm like, you are speaking to Nomsa. How can I help you? And they're like, do you have a white person that I can actually discuss with? And I'm like, if you have that attitude, I'm afraid you are at the wrong place. So those are the things that sometimes it can actually cause people resist to become who they want to become, or simply, it could be simply a white person that comes across with a negative person. They don't have to be, we don't have to label people by color, but there are negative people out there who can actually put people down. I'm sure, Carol Ann, you were born in the UK, you have experienced the negativity as well in the UK yourself. So it does happen. It doesn't happen because of color, but we have people that are very, very judgmental. But how do we overcome that? We just have to know that the things that I overcome is just knowing that people are crazy. There are some crazy people out there, but they cannot stop me becoming the person that I want to become. I just have to keep going. I just have to keep going, the obstacles, climbing the ladder of success. until I get to where I need to go.
Yeah,
I don't know. Do you have any
those obstacles? Those obstacles, and for me, obstacles appear because they're a reflection of some resistance within me.
Yeah.
To moving forward or to affecting the change that I want. And hearing you say you want to move again, I can feel it. It's like an old memory now that I can remember when my ex-husband was always talking about he wanted to move or wanted to do something else, and I could feel it within me. It's like, oh no. My stomach would churn, and it's like, no. I'm happy here, and I could feel myself fighting it for all I was worth. And I managed up to a certain point. We did sort of stay in that one house, and I was able to manage it in as much as what else could we do that would be different, that would satisfy his need to sort of for shifting and changing, But I could always feel that anxiety inside me, and it's just brought back that memory. And so, bless you for, well, and it's like, you want to move? What do you want to move again for? And I'm saying, it's like, okay, you obviously have reasons that you want to move and change, and notice what's coming up as obstacles. And that's great that you confront them and can move forward with them. Claudia, you?
Yeah, that was good as well that you were sharing, Carol, and in regards to you feel it in the body as well, like obviously resistance and the feeling for it and having them can show up in different ways. And one way is actually as well somatically, which means in the body. So where we store as well emotions and feelings and so on, it could come up as a feeling like, just like really being against it and being nervous and anxious about it. So just like absolutely, it can come up as well in other ways, like we can have some thoughts around it as well, just like it's there are actually different ways how we can feel the resistance. So thank you for sharing, really very good. And it's just but what would happen actually as well if we instead of what we resist, it persists actually as well. That's a quote I just realized you hear quite a lot when you shared your Louise Hay quote as well. And when we have this feeling of resistance, and again, we try to push it away or to ignore it, to block it out, is actually not working. Or maybe it's working for some time, it's going to be silence, but then it's just looping around in you and waiting to come out at a later time in your life at a different situation or so on. But if we don't identify it and do something about it, it's just it won't go away basically as well. So and to be honest as well, it's just if we try as well, when it comes up and we already know the situations or the people where we feel like the resistance, it's like usually it will come up at the same situations if we don't work around it. Then just try as well to allow it to be there, just like let it be there and accept it as well. This is something which always helps as well, no matter what we have in regards to emotions and feelings and so on, just like as well accept them and as well the resistance here. And just like, because usually as well, when we accept something within us, sometimes you'd be surprised as well, it is all that it was looking for, just to be seen, to be heard as well, to be acknowledged and to be accepted. It can actually sometimes be just that easy, quick, and you might then get as well some insight of what the situation or the resistance actually is for, or it's after as well, what it wants from you too, just by allowing it, let it be and accepting it. Yeah, and maybe as well, ask yourself some good questions, like a good question I like to ask always is, what am I afraid would happen if I get that desire or that goal, or if I do so and so? Because usually as well, there is like some hidden motive in the subconscious where we are not really aware of, but actually as well, when we ask ourselves good questions, and then we get as well the answer as a sensation, or it could be as well knowing and so on. Just like, what am I actually afraid what would happen if this so and so is going to happen?
Absolutely great question to ask. And it just helps you to dive into the resistance rather than resist it. It's what is that fear behind it? What would happen? And some great questions. And it's always about asking great questions. And the what wording is the most powerful, rather than, well, why is this resistance here? Why doesn't do anything? Your mind goes, I don't know, and I don't get it. But when you ask what, for what reason is it here, or what is it it's come to teach me, there's that your mind does go, oh, I don't know, I'm curious.
Exactly,
and it makes it become curious, and you eventually find an answer comes. And which is great. So it's a great point there.
And then you have something you can work with already, this
Absolutely.
is actually it's a start.
So being open, learning to be more open and flexible and embrace change is something else that will help with the resistance. Because if you can learn to embrace change, then that resistance will lose its power. You may feel it more as a little flutter and a memory, but it will come and go much more quickly, because it's in that instant there's something more, you go down into that fear, but immediately you're straight up here in that higher cortex of your brain that can just go think more clearly and rationally, rather than shutting down into that fear base where there's just no rationality at all. And that's where the resistance then gets even stronger, because you start feeding those doubts and the limiting beliefs and that. So being able to be more open and just be flexible and go, okay, so resistance is here. What am I resisting? Boom, just embrace it. Embrace it. Change is about to happen. Open your arms, and go, oh, and notice how that feels. That's maybe that embracing. Maybe there's a, oh, no, can't do that. Again, you can feel it in your body. Just allow yourself to breathe. Do some movement. Go for a walk upstairs. Go for a walk around the house. Get some movement in it. Come back and think about, okay, embracing change. Can you do that movement? So you actually get the movement in there as well, because the more you can get the body involved, free up the resistance that is in the physical body, come out of your head. It helps you then move out of your head and frees it up. So it's just a very simple action that you can do. And it's then something else you can do is just find the strength in your resistance, because there's a part of you that is resisting it so beautifully and has got such a strength. It's incredible. It's like, wow, it comes up with some really creative ways that will distract you and keep you and stop you. So maybe just talk to that part of you and allow that part of you, to embrace change, to welcome it, and just talk about the concerns that are there, and just say, I love your creativity. I love your strength that you've got to resist this. I now request that you use that strength to assist me in moving forward into embracing that change, so that maybe there's that conversation to have, because that strength could be put towards you, actually welcoming the change, moving and taking that action. So changing resistance into assistance is a phrase that I use quite a lot.
I like this. And can I just add something to it? Very beautiful suggestion as well. To ask it, why are you here? And usually as well, it wants to protect us, right? It wants us to keep safe. And then actually as well, just like to meet those two parts, let those two parts meet as well. They're a bit like scared part and the more mature or the wise part. Let them actually as well meet up and have a conversation with each other, and so that the scared part, the part in us who is resisting, feels safe and understands as well it's okay to go into the unknown and to embrace the change. Yeah.
That's right. And it is that, and then it's also acknowledging the great strength that part of you has to sort of, with that resistance and request, putting it into assistance, acknowledging that there's a way that it can support you and still keep you safe. Because actually sometimes it's what happened is that resistance arose from something, and in that moment it worked, it kept you safe, but that is no longer needed. And it's really realizing that right now that threat is no longer here, and therefore by assisting you it will be keeping you safe. And I think that is the key there, isn't it, Claudia? Knowing that's going to keep you safe.
And to understand this as well. Absolutely, it's always good to remind us of this.
Nonsa, you got something else you'd like to?
I agree. I think our brain automatically goes into like a flight or fight mode, where it has to protect us when we're about to do something new. So we just have to fight and say, you know what, fear, I am aware of what is going on, but actually I am going to do it. And because our brain is designed to keep us safe, it's designed to protect us. So the minute we try to actually create different goals, bigger goals, and the brain will be like, oh no, I don't think we can do this. So it will trigger something that is a cascade. And then when that is triggered in psychology, and then you start producing chemicals, and then that's when the fear comes. But then you have to be able to respond to your body, because your emotions, your body, that's why your inner child is for. That's what your emotions are for you to respond the right way. But some people, they respond to fear with fear. Some people respond with anxiety. People respond in different ways. Like today, when I was reading the email, I just laughed at the email. There was no fear, there was no anger, there was nothing. I was just laughing. And there was, with the woman I was talking to her over the phone, I was like laughing at her, and I was like, you do realize that you are actually discriminating me for being a Black person by assuming that what I'm looking for, I cannot do it. So, and then but I wasn't fearing of anything. And after, I wasn't upset with her either. I was like, I'm just going to explain myself. And I said to her, if that's what you believe, could you please put it in writing? Because it's nice for me to read it, and then I can show somebody else, and then you read it if that's what represented the company. And I don't think she's going to write it anyway. She's just going to go and approve the website, approve my application anyway. So that's what is going to happen. But that's what happens in life, that in order for us to overcome these resistance, we have to understand that we are unique. And why are we here? Like Claudia was saying, why are we here on earth? We have an assignment, and that assignment is not written in fear, is not written, there's no threat in it. But when we make decisions, going into unfamiliar things, then that's when there's going to be resistance. Your body might feel threatened with our daily basics decisions. And you just have to know that in order for you to accomplish anything. You just have to let your body allow you to become who you want to become, and let your brain allow you to become who you want to become. And that happens step by step. Not wanting to accomplish bigger things in one go. You can just do things step by step. And then if you're fearing, that's why you have to have a coach as well. If you don't have a coach, family members, there are some family members who are really, really good, or friends who are really good. I have a friend that I can rely on. I have family members that I can rely on. So there must be one person that you can express your fears to them, and knowing that that person is not going to make things worse. Some people make things worse than they are. So just pick that one person that you can express what is going on, or the decisions you want to take, so that they can help you to go through, conquer those resistance. For me, everything that I do, I know I'm not doing it alone. I've made a decision. Before, I used to pray and say, God, give me a miracle, give me that. But now I don't do that. I pray for him to connect with me, to actually show me anything that is resisting me inside of me, that is causing resistance for me moving forward. I ask him to help me, because I know if I ask him, he's not going to tell me 20 reasons why he believes that I cannot do this, I cannot do this. Or he's not going to test me with fear. He's just going to guide me, bring me, activate the Holy Spirit to guide me through life. So that is how I do things. I was praying the other day, I think that was 3 weeks ago, and I was like, I always manifest for money, manifest for my marriage to work, manifest for this to work, and it becomes a big, long process. Why can't I just ask the man himself? Manifest for him, his power to actually guide me through, so that I don't have to worry about anything else. So now I just, I've noticed that I manifest and I fast and I ask him, and if I'm doing something, I get corrected straight away if I'm going the wrong path. And then it would then up to me to actually resist, fight, trying to go through that wrong path. And I get corrected within myself. And I'm like, oh, what I'm trying to do, what is that? And then I pray just to make sure that it is real. And then after that, I'm like, oh, okay, I need to do this. And the revelation, I just want the revelation. So, but some people, they have different beliefs that they believe in. So sometimes it's nice to use your own beliefs, trust your abilities of believing in yourself as well. What do you think, Claudia?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Everything starts within us.
Yeah.
Starts within us, because if we understand this, then we can see as well that outside is a reflection of what is going on inside of us, like, so that we can address it as well. And what if as well you talked about the change as well, and trusting as well, Nomsa. And yeah, what if we can as well just like adopt and get into this trusting feeling that we're being guided actually as well, and that everything is good as it is at this particular time and day, that we are meant and supposed to be where we are right now, and just trust as well, rather than as well again resisting and fighting against situations and people and so on. I mean, just like really trust the process, that we are exactly as well always like beautifully guided in life. And this helped me as well to understand, sometimes we don't see it in this very moment, depending what we are going through. But when we look back at some situations we have had, business or private or relationships, health, whatever it is, we I'm sure that most of us do understand and do agree that yes, actually it makes really sense why I had to go this way, because of that so and so I'm here right now, and now it makes all sense looking in how the dots came together. So what if we could just go into this energy, you know, just like really trust the flow of life.
I love that.
Lovely. And just trust the flow of life. And the trouble is we are so resistant to it, because the flow of life, there's the flow just, it changes and it changes. So
Yeah.
that's what we resist. But there is that, there was something that came to mind. It's just it's gone, but as you were talking, it'll come back, and I'll think. But something I was wanting to share is about being able to free up that resistance, is actually know what your motivation is. You know, if there's a task that you're resisting, why is this task important? That's another angle to look at, rather than what in me is resisting it. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Resistance. Very often we put labels, I'm procrastinating, or you're being lazy. Things like that show up. And I think it's recognizing that it is resistance. And when you can recognize and relabel it, reword it, rephrase it, it's like, okay, so what is this resistance, as we were saying just now, and asking those questions. But then look at the actual task that you're resisting doing. What, you know, why is this important? So maybe start looking at your values, look at your why. Know your motivation. Why do you do what you do? So what prayers have you put out there? What goals have you set that has this action actually be really important to get done? And then recognize where that's going to take you. And therefore, what is the resistance? Because at the moment, I have an essay that I have to write, because I'm talking at the International Kinesiology Conference in October, and they want to write an essay, which is something that backs up or just put some background information about our talk, and that's going to go in a manual, and that's got to be in a couple of weeks' time, because they're going to have to translate it, and because it's Beijing that are putting on the conference, and although it's going to be online, things are going to be translated into Mandarin as well. So, you know, there's a time frame to get things done, and I've had this time frame since I knew in January, actually in February, that I'd got, you know, accepted as a speaker, and I thought, oh, okay, all of March and all of April, I will get this written. March, I will get it done. No. April, we're nearly at the end of April, and I still haven't. I've done bits of it. I've got notes that I'm really aware of the word of the resistance. And I recognize, because when I saw the title of the talk today, I just thought, yeah, it's resistance. There's something in me is resisting sitting down and writing. And so I'm just diving into that. And I've done quite a bit of activities around it. And I've written bits, and I found bits flow. All of a sudden I'm writing and I go, oh, this is good. And then it stops. But what I have been also doing, I found myself reading around the topic and going, oh, but I could put this in it. And oh, there's that I could do. And oh, there's that. And all of that, like all of this. And it's like, no. Keep coming back to what is the aim of my talk? What do I actually need to put in here? Keep it simple. And I realized the other day when I was talking through with a friend, and I just said, those are my avenues, the ripples that I'm going to be sending out of inquiry around the topic, which is to do with getting free-flowing writing and using some kinesiology concepts, going back to the very basics of writing, that just keep it simple. 1 or 2 points, and realize that the rest I can make notes on, and I can use those to talk about later, to expand on the topic, to take the inquiry further out. And once I started realizing, I said, okay, so I start highlighting that, and I've been able to start reining in what it is I'm going to write about. But when I started making notes again a bit more and highlighting, but there is that resistance to just sitting down and writing. So I'm now working on, okay, I've created it such that I put my notes up, I've stuck them around so that I have the title, I've got the aim of my talk, I've got some other details I keep going back to. What is the point? What is this essay supposed to be about? What's the reason for it? Keep bringing myself back to that, and the summary of my talk. And I've got those bits up so that it keeps bringing me back to that, and then just making some notes. And I realized just last night I suddenly went, there's a part of me that's going, but I don't know what to write. I don't know what I don't know what you want me to write. It was that. Well, I don't know what you want me to write. Well, I suddenly realized it isn't about what you want me to write. It's what I want to write. It's what I want to share and explain. And so I'm just shifting that thought. But I realized there's an inner child at school who's sitting there going, what do you want me to write? I don't know. And I think it goes back to there. So it's also recognizing the inner child who is actually bringing up some resistance, because in that moment she was like, well, what do you want me to write? And it's like, and there was a part of me that inner child, younger me, needed to be told what to write, because I felt I had to be in that person's head. I felt there had to be a certain thing that I was meant to do. And I think that does happen at school. There is that element that we expect to be told what to do. And so that perpetuates. So I'm going to work on that one. So can you see how you can get to the core of the resistance and work with that? And then other resistance may pop up. Welcome it, embrace it, which I will do. But I will get this done. And it's about persisting. It's continuing and going, no, I am going to get this done. So persistence and acknowledging where it's all coming from is certainly there. So what are your thoughts? What's coming up as I'm speaking? You're both muted, by the way.
To Carol Ann, because what happens is, I think when we resist things, how many words do you need to write?
It's not number of words, it's anywhere between 4 and 8 A4 pages.
Okay.
And a certain font size.
Normally when I resist something, I look at the work, how much work I need to do. But I've changed my my concept of how I see things now. I don't look at how big this thing has to be. Like, I had questions the other day. Somebody sent me about 7 or 8 questions, and she was like, there's no deadline to do this. And I look at it and I was like, I need to go to bed now. It was 11 o'clock or 11:30. So I was like, I need to go to bed, but let me just do this and get rid of it. And I didn't look at the questions. I decided not to look at how much work it needs to be doing. And I find myself, I'm actually enjoying writing it because it's coming natural. I'm enjoying it, writing it. And after I finish, and then I've realized, actually, I am finished. I was like, oh, okay. So now I'm not looking at when I'm doing something, if there's a task that I need to complete, I'm not going to look at how big the task is. I'm just going to look at what is expected of me, my emotions, do I need to research? Do I need to do this? I just get on with it step by step and just do it, because I've realized before, when I resist something, it's all to do with, it's too much work, too much questions that I need to ask, and too much hard work. So now I'm just like, okay, you give me a task. How do I need to answer this? I just look at the instructions. And once I get the instructions, I just get on with it and just give it back. I was surprised when she came back, she was like, oh, this is awesome. It's not what I've expected. So I was like, oh, okay. So that is the concept that I'm going to use from now on. And also, I think sometimes we resist things because, like what you were saying, Kiro, and we think we are not good enough to we want somebody else to tell us that we can do it, but we actually can do it. So if we actually can tell ourselves that actually, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to get on with it and do it. I always tell my children that you have two choices in life. You can either put things on the side, don't do them, or you can just get on with it and stop complaining and just get on with it. And once you get on with it, it's done. Once it's done, you just give yourself a big credit that actually I've done this. Guess what we've been putting off, Carol Ann?
What?
The website will come out.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the resistance to that? That's a good one. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, the website has been ready since Christmas.
Wow.
And we just need to download the content and put it live. We've not done that. So that is another thing that we are resisting. We are resisting to do things that we are meant to be doing. But I can understand that there were so many things that were going on. So that's why when there's too much talking, I don't actually do something. It's like with myself, when I'm saying too much talking, it's like if there is a confusion in my head, or there's too much talking, too much negative, I just step back and I don't do that thing until that negativity goes away. So like right now, I'm doing this challenge of confidence. I don't make decisions when I'm doing this confidence. The decisions that I make is the decision that I've ignored a long time ago. The things that I resisted to do it is where now I'm going back. I'm dealing with my back, things that I've resisted. So I'm tackling everything, like leaving everything done. And with the business, I've not touched anything, but this is scary because when I look at the business, whether I'll be on day 20 or day 21, and when I make a decision, it would be a very, very scary decision that is going to scare somebody. But I'm hoping that it's not going to scare somebody. It's not going to scare me myself as well. But that's what I do. I resist to do things. And sometimes I move forward, and then like now I'm going back. I'm like, I didn't do that. I said I would do this. I would not do that. Or I'm correcting the fear. Where there was fear, like I found a house, we're living in this house, there was fear, and now I'm like, we are all settled now. We're still paying for the things in the storage. And there's people, my children, I've never seen people, they don't stop complaining, Carol Ann. I'm not used to this house. I'm used to this. Get on with it. So now I've decided I think I need to give them the house that I want so they can shushu. I realized that I took their voice away. Gossip talk shows is all find your own voice, lead from within. So I have explained to them that I did not take your voice away. I said to them, the reason why we had to downgrade the home is because at the time money was coming out during lockdown. My business is a face-to-face. and money was coming out. Thousands of pounds were coming out every month, but less money was coming in. So I said to them, and at that moment, I had to make a decision to say, let's downgrade this before things get worse. But now we settled. Now we are no longer, we call ourselves poor when we don't have big money. We say we are poor, we need to slow down with spending money. So I was like, now we are rich, we're not poor anymore. So we can actually find a little bit of the house, upgrade the house that you guys want. So they're like, okay, so yesterday they were getting excited when I was saying take pictures of the house. So they were getting excited. So I feel when I was doing this confidence, I feel that I took the voice away from my children. And I never made a decision very, very fast, but God can forgive me because at that moment, I couldn't resist. Me, I don't like to have things that I can't afford. If I don't have money, I don't buy anything. If I can't afford something, I downgrade it until I recover and then I can afford it. I don't spend money that I don't have. So that's how I live my life. So I was explaining to my children, but as I go along the challenge, I was like, at the same time, I took their voice away from them. So maybe now that we are settled, I need to give them that voice back, but I need to explain so that when they're older, they make that decision as well, that when things you can't afford something, make a decision until you can afford it. So at the same time, I make the right choice, but now I need to give them their voice. My children are so miserable. They're not actually used to seeing everybody in one place. They are used to disappearing. They are used to going somewhere in the house, but now they don't have all that. So I feel that I need to give them that back. So am I resisting now? I'm not. Because I'm working through my inner being. But if it was before, there would be resistance. Like Carol Ann, Claudia, I asked you for an advice. There was something that I can feel I was resisting something. Even when I was talking to Carol Ann is saying, what's this thing in the house? Maybe there's something to do with the ancestors thing. And I've realized that ancestors, my family, my grandparents, my great-grandparents is one thing that we've always had. We've always had a home. They've struggled with other things, but a home was something they've always had. So I think there was anger inside of me that why do I have to go through this? But I wasn't showing it. I was pretending that everything is okay. But inside of me, I wasn't okay. I was so angry, wanting the house to come through your house. But now I'm not resisting and there is no fear anymore. It's all about making those decisions. And I believe that, Carol Ann, whatever you're writing, and I trust you that you're going to come one day live Tuesday or Friday and say, guess what, Nomsa? And I'll be like, what, Carol Ann? And you'll be like, I have written my essay. And I'll be like, yay! Because you guys
deadline. I do have a deadline to get it in by, but
yeah, because you guys always motivate me, and I just believe that you will do it.
Yeah, thank you. And that's a key point that I think is there to share, with our listeners, and you have that support team, build a support team, have accountability buddies that can support you. And this is where I have accountability buddies who are checking in and saying, where are you? And we arrange some calls, which are making me get it done because it's keeping my focus on it rather than letting me just slide through the week. It's like, oh, I've got a call with so-and-so to check on where I'm at. It's like I must get to do something at least. So it's having that accountability and it is having people that support you in some way. And so like here, yes, it's great. Where are you at with it now? And looking forward, and that vision of me coming on here saying, yeah, I've done it. It's in, But there's just one thing while it pops in my head, something you said about which is really So I'm going to write out and remember and put that in there for me, is something you said, Nomsa, about what you'd written, and the lecturer or the tutor said that isn't what I was expecting, but it's awesome, or it's great, or it's good, it wasn't what they were expecting, but it was good.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, so I have this expectation that they're going to be expecting a certain essay from me.
Yeah.
It can be not what they're not expecting. So I think that's what I've now popped in, that seed of them going, oh, this isn't what we were expecting, but it's great. It's just, just what we actually want, And so thank you for that thing. I just wanted, because it sort of got lost in what you said, and it triggered something in me. So again, for listeners, just maybe think that it's like, it's not what someone's expecting. Actually, what you have done is perfectly good. It's great, and it's awesome in its own right. And so it doesn't have to be what they're expecting. So that was something.
As long as written from the heart.
Yes, exactly. I just wanted as well, heart and soul, if you get this channeled, if you really feel it in your body, heart and soul, then they get the message as well on the other side.
Everything you do from the heart, Carol Ann, and it makes a difference. And even when you speak to the clients, from your heart, and putting them first instead of putting your needs first, they can feel it. And I remember when we did an event with the Days. I think that was before lockdown, and it was dating. And we did this event, and we start talking. We start giving the nuggets, and then all of a sudden people are crying, and I was like, "What is going on? Why people are they crying?" And then I come back, I'm like, "Why people are they crying?" And then this guy, he explains that the reason that I'm crying, Nomsa, is because I came here expecting to, I don't know what I expected. And he was like, I saw the advert. It was all about dating, and I'm single. And I was like, let me just go. So I did the chains. The chains, they had to be done practically. We did break the chains of relationship live. And I had my chains, I had the keys, and I said, anyone who wants to volunteer, go sign the document and let's get on with it. And after, when we were doing that, people started crying. They were like, we came here, we didn't expect what was all about. We just expected to actually have a little bit of a talk, have a little bit of chat with our problems. But we triggered something in them that they had already had in them, the confidence that they had, but they didn't realize that they had that confidence. And then they cry because they are like, this is not what I'm expecting. Now I'm very comfortable with myself. I treat myself as an ordinary person. When I meet people, I had these lower expectations about myself. But actually, I need to value myself. So that's what we do when we resist things we don't value. It means that there is something that we don't value about ourselves. But when you start valuing your life, what you are capable of as a person, then you won't resist anything that comes your way. I don't know, Claudia, what do you think, or Carol Ann? The audience, you guys can comment. I don't know what you think, but for me, I believe that everyone can do extraordinary things, but sometimes we're lazy. We don't want to listen to our emotions. We don't want to act on our needs and desires. We believe that we're not good enough. But where is it written in the Bible that a human being is not good enough to do this? It's us
Yeah.
having the courage to do it. And I believe that Carol Ann is going to have the courage to write that thing that she is resisting. Claudia, she's been talking about it, I think, for 3 weeks now.
Okay, bless. No, I mean, it sounded good as well. The structure, she
Yeah.
explained us what she has outlined for herself. Absolutely. Because sometimes as well, we need to put some things in structure to have a plan. What works for me as well, I don't always as well like to do everything I have to do. Obviously as well, there is resistance or procrastination as well, sometimes in things, but then as well, the things I like to do least, then I do them in the morning. At least they're out of the way, you know, like, so we have to find something as well, structure a plan, what works for us as well, you know. So I do them in the morning. It's out of the way, so I don't have to later on during the day, that thing is still there. I have to write it, I have to do something about it. And then you just get lazy and you procrastinate again and so on. You fall into the resistance loop again. So it's just like a bit, but these are different things for different people. So just like finding as well what works for us individually.
Absolutely. And it is finding what works for you.
Mhm.
And I think that's where we can fall down, is that we compare ourselves to other people.
Yeah.
And it's that comparison that creates a resistance. It's like, well, I should be doing it like that. And then it's like, but I can't.
No.
So stop that, stop the comparison and say, right, what would work for me? And then it's taking that action. And if it doesn't actually come to fruition, or it doesn't work in the way you thought it would, learn from it. As we've said before on many occasions, there is no such thing as failure. There's only feedback. And you just take the feedback. It's like, well, okay, I did this and this is what happened. This isn't quite what I wanted. So you then review the situation, take the feedback, review it and say, right, well, what can I now do? And keep moving forward. So just keep reviewing it and reviewing it. And yeah, we can do extraordinary things.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And it's believing that, believe that it is possible, but just keep recognizing what that resistance is that stops us and that holds us and makes us appear as if we're being lazy, makes it appear that we're procrastinating. It's just that resistance to change. That's all it is. And it is going back into the body. It's the emotions. There's something about, oh, that's right, being able to feel the emotion, because that will help you to understand what's going on. It's oh, I had it. It's gone and it's come, and that's it. The emotions will help you to find what are the thoughts that are going on that has you resisted. So if you can feel those emotions, really get into the body and go, right, what's the words that are here? What's the thought that triggered that emotion? Just have an exploration around that and see where that takes you. It's just about exploring different avenues. And and just if it doesn't quite work out, if you suddenly lose your train of thought, never mind. As long as you remember to keep breathing. That is the most important thing. And recognize when you're holding your breath. Because that's what we tend to do. We tend to hold our breath. And that stops the flow. So actually do some conscious breathing. Breathing in for a count, hold it, and then breathe out for another count. And focus on doing that. It brings you back into the moment. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, oh yeah, that's what I was going to do. Or there's my thought. There's my train of thought. Or well, actually, it doesn't matter anymore. I need to do this. So breathe, keep breathing. Because if you're resisting something, there's a part of you that stop breathing.
And I like it as well, Claudia, when you said you complete your task in the morning. I think morning, that's where we're very productive. And I was looking at people mostly on LinkedIn when they give me their appointment diary. Some have 6 a.m. and 6:30 a.m. And I was like, yesterday, I was like, actually, I need to start doing that, having appointment early in the morning, because I like it when somebody, when I have, like, if somebody gives me an appointment in the 6 a.m. or 6:30, that means I get over it and done, and then I have the rest of my day. So I think it is really nice. That is a good idea, to do everything in the morning, almost some of small tasks in the morning as well. I think that is really helpful, because in the morning we have this energy. Some people are sleepy, but for me, once I wake up, I have this energy in the morning. I can just do anything. Maybe you need to start writing in the morning, Carol Ann. Yeah.
Morning person.
Yeah, but the good thing with you, the good thing, what I like about you, Carol Ann, you remember when you were going to the challenge, you kept resisting, and all of a sudden you went, I've done this, I got confused, and then the hotel is booked, and then everything, I'm going, I was like, hey, that's more like it. You resist, but then you have this energy where you just do things very quickly and it's over and done with it. I think that is good as well. And having people, like having each other as well, is very important, because we can actually motivate each other and just go and do it. And when you don't do it, you hear Claudia's voice saying, Carol, and you can actually do this. When I'm not there, you can hear my voice saying, actually, you can do it. I believe in you. So that's why we're all here for each other.
And actually, it's lovely to hear you say that all of a sudden I've done this, I said I've done that. It's because I do the work that I say is to be done, and I do the reflections. I work on myself all the time. I look at what's coming up, and I will do brain gym balance. I will do some touch for health, or I'll do some NLP or something that shifts that resistance into assistance, and quickly, and then I'm boom, and it's just suddenly you find yourself doing something without thinking, and it is just doing the work. Yeah.
Any words of encouragement? Or Claudia, do you have anything? You were about to say something before we go.
Just like encouragement, because I realized the title, the second, is in regards to instantly releasing the list, to do it instantly as well. On a few occasions, at some point, I was just fed up with the resistance, same things coming up over and over again. At some point, you just realize that you're done with it, and just to have this realization, I'm done with this topic over and over coming up, same again. And just in this very moment, when you make the decision, I'm done with it, it's over. And this has worked as well sometimes for me. So it's just like instantly. You make the decision and you decide when you're really over and done with it. Done.
It's done. I love that. Yeah. And there's this something I just like to leave people with, is just a thought that maybe.
Before you go, Carol Ann, Dave says, stay blessed to you all. Same to you, Dave. Stay blessed, and we love you, and thank you for supporting us.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Something you could perhaps create is a journal or a log of your resistance. Every time you resist something, what is it you're resisting? What's there? Make a note of it. And maybe there might be a pattern that shows up, but maybe just writing it down. So keep a log. That's something that you could take on board. But I'd just like to leave people with a quote by Eckhart Tolle. The intensity of the pain depends on the degree of resistance to the present moment.
Okay.
pains in your body,
Mhm.
or resistance. So
Mm.
just leave it with
Claudia, have you said your words of encouragement?
No, just like again, no, actually keep it simple. What you resist, no.
yeah, what you resist persists.
Yeah, so just like it's something we hear over and over again, and so true, simple. Yeah, simple. Yeah. Mm.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
Carol, am I muted? No.
No, it's like, keep going.
For me, basically, I'll say if you resist something, just look within. Why do you feel the way you feel? And without, like Carol Ann says, you can search through within your soul without blaming yourself. The reason why you have to look within is because sometimes the enemy that we are battling, that enemy is here. It's always us. And this has helped me a lot when I'm faced with challenges or when there's something that I'm resisting. I just go deep within myself and just search through. And when I search through, that's when I get to the revelation. And sometimes I don't do things on my own. I know God is always there with me. And I always ask him, God he is a human being. He is a spirit that lives within the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit lives within us. So we can get all those revelations, our inner child, whatever you call it. Some people like to call it different things. So you can call it, label it the way you want, but all I can say is the answers that we are looking for, why we resist things, they're always within us. Sometimes it could be the words that were said to us, or it could be a childhood attachment, our parents, how they wanted us to become lawyers and doctors and said, you can never find a man if you are not a doctor, or you can never find a woman if you are not a lawyer. So those things stick with us. So you have to find yourself. When you see that big thing that you want to go for, starting a business, promotion, or go and find a woman of your dreams or a man of your dreams, what is resisting? It's always within. But we search it outside, asking people to say, do you think I'm ready to go on date? Do you think I'm ready to start a business? But everything is in here. Trust me. Live with grace, everyone. And we are here at Ngozi Talk Shows Monday to Friday, 1 p.m. UK time. Carol Ann and I, and Dr. Biggett, we're going to be doing an self-forgiveness course, a training workshop for 1 day. Is going to be free for 1 day. So if you want, guys, you can message me private or message Carol Ann private and register. We'll put your name down and come and turn up. After that, we will be charging, but we're gonna do it for free. And those are the other things that I've been resisting to actually put the ad on social media. So I'm gonna do it today. So Carol Ann is going to carry on with the writing. Claudia is going to do whatever she needs to do. And I'm going to do that ad for today, the workshop. Please, guys, get in touch with me if you feel that you have some unforgiveness within your heart that are holding you back. Or get in touch with Carol Ann. Live with grace, everyone, and God bless.